I do no harm to myself, my family, my community, other families or communities who live in peace and unity with others. I am protection.
This is our 7th discussion of the universal law called I am protection. It is one of the 11 universal social laws represented by the guiding principles of peace and unity. In our recent talks about I am protection, we discussed the sexual abuse of black children. Today, we will continue that discussion. We will focus on what happens to a child who has been the victim of child sexual abuse and how we can heal that child. The universal social law, I am protection, and its premise, do good, do no harm, requires that we have these difficult discussions and use them as resources. We can have no culture of self-love if we allow the abuse of our children. Before we get deeply into this, let's understand that there are 3 areas critical to the success of the black community in Africa and the African diaspora. They are culture, education, and economics. In this video series, we continue our examination of issues and concepts related to creating a culture to develop self-love, which those who care about the black community may examine and consider. When we talk about a culture of self-love, we must first define culture, because most of us have wrong ideas about culture. We think culture is the music we listen to, or the style of clothing that we wear, or our celebrations and holidays, or whether we eat with a fork, knife, and spoon, or eat with our hands. Those things and activities are not culture. Culture is deep and powerful. The word culture comes from the word cultivate, which is related to the domestication and growth of plants. Culture is like a gardener who cultivates a young plant by tying it to a stand for support, putting it in a certain location, and watering it. The gardener does this to foster the growth of the plant, to become tall and strong, so it does not grow bent and crooked, so it does not become a weed. The gardener does this with labor, care, and study to ensure that his, her plants are the best. Culture is actually a system to cultivate and civilize people. This is done by tying people to universal laws and standards of behavior based on a foundational premise. Do good, do no harm. So people will grow strong, not bent and crooked. If you care about the children, women, and men of black communities, you will use labor, care, and study to make sure that they are at their best. Tie yourself, your family, and your community to the universal social laws called the guiding principles of peace and unity. I meditate to relax in all situations. I am peace. I bring and keep together the families and communities who live in peace and unity with others. I am unity. I learn how to learn. I am knowledge. I create for myself, my family, and my community. I am power. I obey the laws of my family and community that are in harmony with peace and unity. I am law. I do no harm to my family, other families, or my community. I am protection.
I choose the feelings, thoughts, and actions that are in harmony with the principles of peace and unity. I am control. I have fun and work with my family and my community. I am cooperation and harmony. I am careful about what I believe. I accept ideas and beliefs that are in harmony with these guiding principles. I am correct ideas and beliefs. With all my heart, I take care of my family, other families, and communities that are living according to the principles of peace and unity. I am devotion. I keep a clean body. I have clean habits. I eat healthy food. I exercise. I care for my environment and planet. I abuse no substance or drug. I am strength.
These laws are how your ancient ancestors built civilizations that lasted for thousands of years. Many of us admire the great pyramids and temples and the apparent wealth of our ancient ancestors. But what is most important to understand is that your past achievements came from your advanced social organization. Social organization based on universal laws and standards of behavior. That is what using the guiding principles of peace and unity and their violations will help you do today. Currently, we are living in varying levels of social chaos, corruption, poor health, and economic stagnation as a result of holding on to ideas, beliefs, and behaviors from slavery and colonialism. It is these ideas, beliefs, and behaviors which have destroyed self-love within us and within our communities and are the source of most of our problems. They prevent us from advancing culturally, economically, or being able to even solve our problems. To overcome these obstacles, we need a new way of thinking, and we need new leadership, a way of thinking and leadership that embrace using the universal laws represented by the guiding principles of peace and unity to guide Black people into the future. That is what is meant by the word Afrofuturism, an African future, not based on clothing styles and music styles, a future based on establishing a culture of self-love on a foundation of universal laws. Let's look more closely at the universal social law called I am protection. The principle says, I do no harm to myself, my family, my community, other families and communities who live in peace and unity with others. To understand what that really means and make it real, we must now look at the violations of the universal law called I am protection. Because the violations tell us how to live according to I am protection and make it part of our cultural expression, standard and tradition. The violations are sexual harassment, sexual abuse, assault, child abuse, crimes against humanity, murder, rape, animal cruelty, verbal abuse, bullying, kidnapping, torture, or cruel and inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment, distributing and selling substances that cause addiction, unjust war, enslavement, extortion. What is good about these violations is that our community can conduct discussions and even debates and come to consensus about their validity or how to hold each other responsible and accountable so that we can cleanse ourselves of these violations. With I am protection and the other guiding principles of peace and unity as a foundation, culture will, 1, prepare you for life. 2, foster your growth. 3, improve you as a person and as a community. 4, help you solve problems. You can always download a copy of the guiding principles of peace and unity and their violations at our website, thegppu.org. We will teach and show you how to use them. Now, back to the universal law called I am protection and the violation of child sexual abuse. Children are the most important legacy you have. They grow into your future. What you teach them and what you give them will play a role in what happens to them in the future and what happens to you in the future. They will create your future. When a child is sexually abused, her growing brain is traumatized. The brain has to rewire to change and survive based on the assault. Hope and love grow into distrust and confusion. Expectation of safety grows into fear of danger and harm. Relationships become battlegrounds or cease to exist at all. If not addressed, this trauma can often create adults who create unhealthy relationships, are involved in drugs, sexual promiscuity, prostitution, aggression, violent crime. In some cases, that child will grow into an adolescent or adult predator against other children. To avoid this, treatment is crucial for children who have been abused. If we get our children proven good quality treatment early and consistently, the trauma of child sexual abuse can be overcome. Proven treatments include a combination of trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing, cognitive processing therapy, prolonged exposure therapy, somatic therapies, which are body-based because trauma stays fixed in the body, dialectical behavior therapy, group therapy that is trauma-focused. Most important for the child is to restore for that child a sense of safety. This is done first by having a reliable, loving family group. If that is not available, alternative group therapies must be made available. The group must be able to gently and carefully allow the child to talk about their trauma and assure them that they are heard, protected, and safe. The alternative is to allow the negative trajectory of child sexual abuse to prevent our children from becoming good mothers, fathers, or leaders who might bring world peace for us. Lost to us, lost to our communities, lost to our world. That is why child sexual abuse is a crime against humanity. It is particularly destructive to the Black community. When we have better control of our economics, we can put resources towards addressing these problems and getting our children healed. We will give material support to those within our community who educate and train and provide other services to heal others. But since we don't have control of the economics of our community at this time, we will continue to focus on education, outside resources, and networking. We will ask you to share this education and information with trustworthy family members, friends, and community. Be explicit, loud, and unapologetic about it, or be gentle and diplomatic about it. But teach and share. Critical to healing is sharing education and information that will help those who have been injured. You can share this video and our other I Am Protection videos. That is what the universal law called I Am Protection asks you to do. Following is a short video that follows this presentation about helping children and adults heal from the trauma of child sexual abuse. Please watch it. There's also information and video links and resources related to healing from the damage caused by child sexual abuse and in our description. So look at the description. Please share those links. There are also new links related to the epidemic of missing Black children, women, and men in our community. You can also share them. That is what the way to create a culture. That's the way to create a culture of self-love based upon the universal law called I Am Protection. Please don't turn away from it. Please help. Our children need you. You can watch our previous discussions about the guiding principles of peace and unity on Facebook and YouTube. Until we meet again, do good, do no harm.
So there are absolutely resources for parents and caregivers who suspect or know that their child has been sexually abused. One of the most important things is that if you suspect in an immediate situation, as in today or yesterday or 3 days ago, within an immediate amount of time where there could be evidence that could be recovered, it's important not to bathe your child, not to wash them in any way, but to immediately call the police, call 911, let them know the situation, and let them guide you in the process to bring your child in to get treated and to be seen. It's very important for them to have access to your child as soon as the incident might have occurred so that they could recover any potential evidence that exists, because you want to be able to ensure that the person that committed sexual abuse against the child could be identified and that there would be no question about it and that there was enough evidence to support it. The other thing is, if the child has not been immediately sexually abused, and this is a report that's you're being told that this had happened over some period of time, you could always call 911 and they can walk you through the process. But there's also the National Sexual Assault Hotline, and they have resources both online and via the actual phone hotline where they can talk to you about local resources to connect you with so that you can get therapy for the child, so that you could have support as a caregiver for the child, and just to help you sort of mitigate all the things that will come up in that situation. So number one, if it's an immediate situation, call 911. Know that the police have connections with Child Protective Services and also with social services so that they will come oftentimes with a bit of a package and ready to support the family in this situation. They will not make it worse. They will do what is necessary to help mitigate the immediate concern and emergency. If it's not an immediate emergency and this is a report about something that's happened at a past time, you can still call 911 and they can give you guidance, but also the National Sexual Assault Hotline, and they are a phenomenal resource to get you local resources for any concerns that you might have.